Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Curbside Podcast. I am your host, Jay Kirby, here as always, joined by my lovely co-host, the Scream Queen Bee, the Master of the Macabre, Britt. And
Hi.
joining us tonight, our guest of honor, or guest of horror, depending on who you ask, good personal friend of mine, Madd Max Morrison.
Yay!
It takes many critters to make Farmer Vince's fritters.
Oh boy. This is what we're in for tonight.
It's going to be an interesting night. So, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who don't know, my good friend Max here is an independent pro wrestler, former rock star, and an independent film star as well.
I'll correct you real quick because there's nothing former about being a rock star. That's a way of life, buddy.
Once a rock star, always a rock star. But gonna have him on here and ask him some questions about what he's been doing as far as the wrestling world goes. What is some of his movie projects? So, Max, how have you been? It's been a hot minute.
Not too bad, my man. Just keeping busy, dude. I've been staying in the gym. I'm trying to get this critter out of my teeth, man. I'm just glad I skinned the hair off it first, man, because that's the worst than getting the meat stuck in there is getting the hair stuck in there.
It's especially bad when you don't know what kind of hair it is.
Have you ever tried to marinate a cripe before?
I cannot say that I have.
Yeah, their meat's real gamey, and you wouldn't think. Well, you kind of think it is, but it's almost like it's not quite like a porcupine, but it's not quite like deer either. It's just weird. I don't know. I don't know. It's got kind of the consistency of sand on a balloon. It's really weird.
I was gonna say porcupine would probably hurt like hell. Cause how would you go about trying to skin it?
With sandpaper. I mean, what do you use?
I just put on really thick gloves, mini machete, and I go to work.
You're gonna destroy your dinner using a machete.
I know.
I mean, at least if it's a serrated machete, you might have a chance because then you can carve it like a turkey. You know. But
what about the electric slicers? You know, like because you had mentioned turkey.
Well, I mean, you can carve it like a turkey and you can use that, but at the same time, if the thing gets off the plate and starts running away, where are you going to have electricity to keep this thing running?
That's why you got to make sure the fucker's dead first.
Well, that doesn't always happen, you know. Just kind of you get that it's that final scare before dinner, you know.
Yep, everyone's entitled to that one last good one.
No sequel for you.
That's what they said in Thanksgiving.
Right.
But yeah, I've just been doing mad stuff, man. I'm staying in the gym. I'm working the shoot job. Just watching a lot of movies, playing a lot of games. I just started my own podcast last week. That's doing fine.
I saw that.
Fantastic.
The social disorder, correct?
Social disturbancing.
Ooh.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's a human interest show. Basically, I just like to get on there and bullshit with people, and there's like no topic, no format. It's just turn on the recorder and let's go.
Sometimes that's kind of how our episodes go. We have an idea, and then everything gets kiboshed in the first 2 minutes.
And then I kind of have to try to bring it all back because that's just how I am.
Yeah,
especially.
Sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
I was gonna say there's nothing like calling it in the ring and just seeing where it goes.
Well, I've never been in the ring, so I don't know.
Well, it's not as easy as it looks to call it in the ring.
No, because sometimes you were saying, Britt, you just gotta like wrangle it in. But if they're they got more legs than you've got toes, then you've got to try to catch up. And if your bag of tricks ain't equipped with the right tools to knock them down and peel the feathers off, then you might be in for a bumpy ride.
See, I was thinking more along the lines of like an eight-legged freak.
Oh, like in big spiders?
Yeah.
Have you ever ate spider before?
I probably did on accident. I tend to like pass out.
You know they crawl in your mouth while you're sleeping.
Yeah, I know. So I probably have like something growing in the back of my tongue, and it's like a spider egg, and like in this old scary stories you tell in the dark, you know.
Does it feel fuzzy?
Sometimes, but not yet.
It might be mold.
That's another possibility. I mean, I kid you not, the house I grew up in isn't a one-room schoolhouse, so this was built in like the 1800s. So I know there's probably ghosts in here, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of mold.
So it's old mold.
Very old mold.
Oh man, yeah, you might want to get that checked, because old mold leads to bats in the cavern, and that's just never good, because there's crap everywhere.
Oh, we already had bats in the belfry once.
Is a bat in the belfry like a partridge in a pear tree? Is that safe to say?
It's a fascinating experience. It's a very fascinating experience, especially when you're seeing all of them like just kind of fly far, far away. My winged friends.
I want to get a bat house for my backyard. Bats are cool. They're cute.
You got to name at least one of them Bruce, right?
No.
Oh, come on.
That's too easy though. Why you gotta go for easy?
Earth girls are easy, dude. What else can I say?
That's right. Yeah, just doing the stuff, man, doing the mad stuff, having a laugh. That's what I've been doing, bud.
I'm about it, man. I'm all about it. So recently I've seen, and this is kind of what gave me the inspiration to have you on the podcast, debuted for a certain independent company called GTS. So I'll tell the story, and then I would love for you to tell us how your experience went with GTS. So for those of you who don't know, I wrestle on GTS. I haven't been on there for a while because I've been hurt and because of quarantine. But I'm scrolling through Facebook one day, and I see like a link to the newest episode of GTS, and there's this bald gentleman with a big burly beard, and I was like, that kind of looks like Maxx. And then I scroll down about 2 minutes later, and I see Madd Morrison. Glad to be a part of GTS. Thank you. And I was like, oh my God, that is Maxx. So we definitely needed to bring him on. So what was your first experience on GTS like? How was it?
It was fun. So I've been working with James Ellsworth for about a year now, and I met Grim probably like a few months ago at an ACW show, and then I guess just through the grapevine, talking to Jimmy, talking to Sickan, they're like, "Yo, Grim's coming in town. How you feel about that?" And I'm like, "Get me in there." And they put me up against that big bastard, Ben Bishop.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a new guy. A lot of upside to that dude. And by upside, I mean my hand upside his head.
Ooh.
Because I tried to take him down, man, but he was a little too big for the mad one. That's what she said too. But it was fun. It was so much fun. Then I since it was a toy show, I figured because I've been doing this thing for about a year, where I bring this toy Thomas the Tank Engine out.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
And I take him into battle with me when I go into street fights, and we go choo and start knocking suckers down. And I thought we had it in the bag, and guess I was wrong. Yeah, me and Thomas weren't enough for Big Ben, but just the experience overall was pretty incredible. It was fun.
It's awesome.
Awesome. So was there anyone that stood out at GTS that you're like, all right, I definitely want to work this person in the future?
Not really, not because the show I was a part of, the only ones that were there that I wasn't really used to was Grimm, because everybody else are like guys that I've worked with, like at some of these other companies I'm working for. So I've either worked with them, or I'm about to work with them, or I've trained with them, so I know what they're all about. But I've seen the show, and yeah, there ain't too many that I've seen on there I want to tangle with too much, except for maybe Grimm himself. I'd like to see if I can't blow him up or something. That'd be kind of fun. I want to see if he can withstand my noggin of steel.
If he can handle the fury.
There's lots of fury in this noggin, I tell you.
I'm just gonna have to believe it.
Yeah, trust me, it's all over YouTube.
I say I've seen Max work. I definitely believe it. Luckily, I've never had to endure it. Thank goodness.
Yet.
Give it time, man. So when you supposed to be all healed up? What'd you break?
So I tore my ACL and my meniscus in my right knee. Yeah, no bueno. And so right now, I'm looking at maybe August or September. It's about a 6 to 7 month recovery process for the surgery. I'm doing physical therapy about 3 times a week, trying to get back in that ring.
Just keep pushing, man. Keep pushing along. Get back in it, man.
Most definitely.
Wrestling needs you.
I'm glad someone thinks so.
So what am I now? A piece of chopped liver?
So, Britt.
Yes.
Talk to me. What's going on?
Well, what part do you want to know about? I mean...
Oh, no, you guys brought me on the show. I thought you had questions and stuff. Thought you guys were professionals. Where'd you learn to work?
Like I've
I
said
learned
before,
from this guy in the red hat.
The same place you did.
Oh.
Well.
Oh yeah, that.
Oops. Okay, so I know we touched a little bit on the wrestling, and I know he had mentioned in the beginning that you were getting into some independent filming projects. So yes. I'm very, very curious to hear about those, because I'll be honest with you, like, independent movies are some of my favorites.
Oh, dude, my heart's in indie films. I grew up as a trauma kid, man. So the grimier, the dumber, the grimier, the more disgusting, depraved, just fucking grindhouses.
Just make no sense whatsoever.
None. No sense is my favorite. So I started working for this cat. Have you ever heard of a movie called Mills vs. Zombies?
I've not.
All right.
Can't say that I have.
I've heard of wrestlers versus zombies, but
that's not it. But we did. But there is one called Wrestle Massacre he just did and got distributed.
Nice.
That one's doing really well. But yeah, the director's name's Brad Twigg. He does Fuzzy Monkey Productions, and dude, Brad is incredible. I love that guy.
I love it. Okay, I already love the way it sounds.
He's so cool. But yeah, I did this my first ever feature film. I did this Ouija board flick called Death Board.
Ooh, okay.
And I play the weird neighbor that knows what's going on, but I might know a little too much of what's going on.
Okay, I gotta ask you, like, the whole time you're filming that movie, like, has anybody like ever told you like never to play with the Ouija board, or like was it just like a morbid curiosity?
Well, you know how horror goes, man. Had nothing to do with me. It was those I'm gonna say it for the sake of effect. I'm going for the cheap pop, Daddy. It's those dumb party girls playing with the Ouija board that done bit them in the ass. That's what happened.
Yep. That's always how it happens.
Them beer drinking, weed smoking hippies.
Uh, You left a big part out of that.
But no, the girls were playing with the Ouija board. They unleashed something very demonic, and all hell breaks loose, and it's a fun ride. Like, that was a fun experience. On my show, I brought on Melissa Sapienza. She plays one of the characters in the movie, and me and her got to work. We worked directly together in a bunch of scenes where she's smashing like a bunch of bottles over my head.
I'll be honest, the last name does sound kind of familiar. I've heard the name a couple times in my neck of the woods. So.
And where are you from?
I'm from like the Pittsburgh area, like around the Pittsburgh area.
Yeah, because she runs the Scare House over there.
That's probably where I've heard of it.
And Bold Escape Rooms.
That's probably where I've heard of it then, because I've done a couple of escape rooms.
Yeah, she's one of the managers over at Bold Escape Rooms, and she just did something with the Whiskey Drankers. I think it was called like Arm Wrestling Roulette.
Ooh, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, that's on Amazon Prime, so you can check it out, because I still need to check it out. I just talked to her last week. I forgot to check it out because I'm a bastard and I forget. Bad bearded man. Aren't we all? Don't stereotype me.
I'm clean.
So I did that one, and then I started. I think it was like back in the spring of last year, we started this other movie. It was called Shriek Show, which is supposed to be this like carnival themed anthology piece.
Okay.
Nice.
And I play a dead clown dressed up like King Diamond. And I'm throwing around these razor sharp playing cards.
Ooh.
Very nice.
Chasing down kids in the woods and the carnival and all this other stuff. Just being crazy.
I love it, and I love the fact that you said that it was an anthology, and that kind of holds another place in my heart, because I love anthologies.
Did you watch the Creepshow series on Shudder?
Yes, I did, and I remember the movies too. So.
Oh, those were incredible. The show was fun. I like the episode with the dollhouse was fun.
Yes. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I probably just sounded like really loud in your ear right there. But yes, that. And have you watched anything on? It's called, I think, Crypt TV. It's actually on YouTube.
I've I caught it like probably about a year or so ago, but I'm like way off. I haven't touched it in a while.
I know. Well, I was gonna say there's Sunnyside Cult. I don't think a lot of shows have come back on yet, because of quarantine. But like there was Sunny Family Cult. There was The Looks. Oh, I'm not even sure if that's the name of it. Oh my gosh! But there was a creature on there called the Looksy. Like he's this and there's like this rhyme or something that. It shows up in every episode, and pretty much what he does is he stalks you, like he stalks people who have a hard time letting go of a piece of their past. So, for example, not letting go of a memory of a lost one, like holding on to like an heirloom of theirs, so like a teddy bear, ribbon, an old engagement ring, things like that. And if you cannot let go of if you cannot make peace with your past, the Looksy comes and he takes a piece of you. Essentially, he kills you, but like you end up with like a body part or something missing.
I don't know. I got a zit on my back he can take.
Send it to Dr. Pimple Popper.
Oh, don't even play. We watched that in this house.
I love Dr. Pimple Popper.
Oh, we turned that on.
It strangely is.
That's dinner time TV, man. We watch that, and we'll watch Botched while we're eating dinner. It's pretty terrible.
I've been so hit and miss with Botched.
I can't do Botched. That's because I see some of it and I'm just like, oh gosh.
Too painful. How? But I mean, like it's amazing. Like it amazes me though that, like, and I feel bad for some of them that go onto the show, and it's like, what the hell happened? Especially when they're trying to like correct botched surgeries from the past. Whew. It's like, like it's anything like that. Oh, go ahead. I'm so sorry.
I was gonna say there was this one episode I remember that I totally wanted to see her like get thrown on film because she came in, she had like necrosis all over her abdomen.
Oh,
Apparently
my God.
her belly button got all janked up and the doctor screwed it up and she got some flesh-eating disease that took out her whole abdomen. So she had this black hole of nothingness just festering right there in her underwear line. I was like, man, let's get this girl on film. Put a contract on her. Let's get a killer in here. Let's do something. This would be fun.
Wow.
I mean, I see where you're coming from. That's a completely ingenious idea.
Oh yeah, but like.
Have you guys watched Channel Zero?
Yes, I have.
Kirby, you gotta check out this Channel Zero show, man. It's 3 or 4 seasons of episodes. So, like it's a take on different creepypastas.
It's on Shudder, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So I've heard of it. I haven't watched it yet, but I want to watch it. Especially I'm gonna botch the name of it. The Coral Cove or whatever season.
Candle
season
Cove.
1. Yes.
Candle Cove.
Oh my goodness. Because I read that creepypasta and then I saw like the trailer on YouTube for the show and I was like, oh my God, they turned it into a show. That is creepy as hell.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they did it justice, dog.
I definitely need to watch that. Of course, I am a wimp compared to the two of you, so I'd watch it, during the daytime with all the lights on.
Nothing wrong with that. I mean, so whenever I have a day off work and I'm not doing much of anything, I have all my errands done by a certain time. I sit home and I watch any kind of movie. Like, let's see. The one day I was off work, I had an Alfred Hitchcock marathon. So it's like I watched Psycho, I watched Rear Window, I watched The Birds. Then I went old school. I went into silent film. So then I watched Nosferatu. I watched Dial M for Murder. And then, of course, I got into your 1960s, so a lot of you like your exploit. I actually watched Cannibal Holocaust.
Dude, did you watch the Joe Bob one from like last month? Is that what you're talking about?
No, like I watched I don't think I watched like Joe Bob. I have a Fire Stick, so all the fun stuff you can do with a Fire Stick.
Yeah. No, I know. Trust me. I've made a few mistakes. Like I was watching this old German flick called Necromantic while my in-laws were home one time.
Never heard of that one.
It's disgusting. It's this guy. He's a body collector for the crime scene. He's a crime scene cleanup guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes in, grabs bodies, takes them home, and then him and his girl have romantic, activities with the bodies and stuff. Well, he brings home this bloated one time, and she falls in love with it and kicks him to the curb. So she's having a love affair with the bloated corpse, and he just offs himself. And I won't spoil the ending, but it's probably one of the most graphic endings I've ever seen in a horror movie.
And this is why I love foreign horror. Like there's no apology to it.
The second one's even worse.
You know what? I'm gonna recommend actually a show on YouTube. Well, it's not really a show. There's a guy on there. He's called the Horror Geek.
Oh yeah, I know who that guy is.
You know who he is? Okay, so that's where I get a lot of ideas for watching like different movies that I haven't quite touched on, but I've wanted to. And some of the things that he's watched in the past, like not really to make me scared, more gross out, but there's been like at least one or two that I've seen that kind of upset me, like actually like kind of made me like unnerved. I'm actually gonna go one being the Poughkeepsie tapes.
Didn't see that one.
It's found footage based.
Ugh.
Yeah, I know everyone makes that. Anytime I mention like found footage, like that's the noise like everyone makes, like ugh. But I mean, and yes, it's a little jerky, but it's what you see on tape is like more upsetting than anything. I mean, you're actually there, like this guy, like he's like you watch him like slit someone's throat, like right there, full like in your face, and it's just like. But I think it's like more the tone of it that kind of made you like that more unnerved. I think it's on. I'm not sure if it's on Prime or not, but I found a copy on Amazon. I think it was like, oh my gosh, this was a while ago. I think I spent like $15 on it, which I don't buy movies very often anymore, so it was kind of worth it for me. Like I said, just to be kind of unsettled.
You want unsettled. I'm
Hit me.
I'm probably gonna drop a bomb, and I'm pretty sure everybody's already heard it. But you've watched Serbian film, right?
Yes, I have.
That's unsettling.
You beat me. Kirby, honey, don't watch Serbian film.
Don't do it.
Yeah,
Please.
I think I'm good.
It's like
Yeah.
Cannibal Holocaust. It's one of those. It's like a one and done, just kind of like a badge of honor kind of thing. You just do it because it's an endurance test.
Right.
So,
Mhm.
Yeah. But no, it's like that, and then what else was another endurance test? Was Cannibal Holocaust was one. Driller Killer was another one.
I don't remember Driller Killer.
You said you do or don't?
I don't.
So, fun story about Driller Killer and a bunch of these other movies is back in the 80s, before ratings were really a thing, there was a motion that went through Parliament to actually regulate and registrate all these crazy horror movies across the world, and it was called the Video Nasties Act.
Okay, I remember hearing about Video Nasties.
Yeah, so Video Nasties, it was this huge list of all these movies that were banned all across the world and for different reasons. And Driller Killer is one of them because it was just obscene violence, blood, and gore. But that's the list I go to watch horror.
Okay. All right, that's it. Just because now.
So much.
If I want to watch something, I go to that list to find it.
That's it. I'm gonna go check it out right now because I'm very, very curious to see what movies are listed on here.
You see this list of all the movies to not watch in the world. Max is like, hey, look, my favorite movies.
That's how I discovered Caligula. It was on one of those It was one of those world's most controversial movies.
Yeah.
And it's like all those. For like a couple of years back when I used to torrent all the time, I'd go down these lists and I'd be like, I want that one, I want that one, I want that one, I want that one, I want that one. And I would just go on a binge and watch just all this racy crap. And that's how I got desensitized, man. I tried to show myself some of the rudest shit possible as like an endurance test. Like watching the 100 Days of Sodom, where it's the cult where they're feeding all the rich people, where the rich people are feeding all the, making them, eat shit and pee and poo-poo and all that stuff.
Yep.
No, yeah, man, dude, that's a Thanksgiving movie you do while the family's around. You put that on while everybody's carving the turkey.
Okay.
Watch Grandma flip her skirt.
None of my My grannies aren't flipping skirts anymore. So I'm kind of looking over this list right now. They have, of course, I went to Wikipedia, which I know you can't trust Wikipedia, but usually they have semi-decent grip on things. And already some of the titles that are popping up are films that I've already seen and that I know about. One, A Bay of Blood. I've watched it.
Classic.
Blood Feast. I've not watched it, but I've heard of it. I actually want to sit down and watch it. The Burning. The Burning. I've seen that one actually multiple times. It doesn't even seem like it should be on there, but it's like just so.
Dude, that movie's so violent. Yes. Of course it belongs in there.
It's not that. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't think it's that violent. I mean, the worst thing that happened was the kids are a bunch of assholes. And okay, sorry guys. I know, spoiler alert. Kids are a bunch of assholes. They caused this accident to this guy, and he comes back essentially with a vengeance. But there's that one death scene that you made reference to that's like the most brutal, I think, out of all of it.
Yeah, I mean, that was like the precursor to Friday the 13th.
Oh, yeah, fair.
I'm looking at the wiki. I'm definitely getting some Friday the 13th vibes, you know.
Yep. Let's see. Cannibal Holocaust is on here. A lot of cannibal things on here.
Ironic, isn't it?
I know, right? Cannibal Holocaust, which we talked about.
Cannibal Ferox is on there.
Yep, actually right above it. Have not yet, want to foray into that one, haven't yet. Driller Killer, like that you just spoke of.
That and Maniac was a good one too. The
Maniac,
original.
Yes, the original Maniac. I haven't seen the new one, the remake that Elijah Wood he starred in it.
It's incredible.
Really, and go ahead.
Oh, dude, because the whole movie is through his eyes. Like the camera is from his perspective. You don't see Elijah on screen hardly at all because the camera is from his. Yeah, it's his perspective. The only time you ever see him is if he looks in a mirror. It is really good.
I'm definitely gonna have to check that out. Then I know it's popped in and out of Netflix several times, so I'm gonna have to look and see if it's back. Let's see what else we got. The Last House on the Left, the original one and the new one. The original, as you guys probably know, was done by Wes Craven. I have such love for that man. The original one was pretty brutal. The new one, I don't know, the new one definitely kind of upped the brutality, I think, a little bit, but still about the same.
Is that the one where they slam the guy's head in the microwave?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. They trap him in the broken microwave.
Holy! You actually saw this movie, Curb?
Yes, I did see Last House on the Left.
I'm proud of you. I'm so proud.
I was so squeamish during the whole thing. The microwave scene. The hand in the garbage disposal.
It's a rough one, especially with all the rape stuff and whatnot, which really makes it hard to stomach.
Yeah. That was definitely tough to get through.
That was hard.
Speaking of, what was it? Because you said the garbage disposal. Did you guys ever see Hard Candy?
Yes. Great movie.
That's one movie I watched it once. I will never watch it again because when she baited him and then she dropped his testicles in the garbage disposal. No way, sir.
No, thank you. Fight another day. So there we had that one, and then because oh my gosh, we were just talking this movie hasn't shown up here, but it's a Japanese horror. It's called Audition. And it kind of plays into the same line as Hard Candy, but not exactly. But I just think of the piano wire. That's just oh my gosh. I honestly did not think piano wire could do that to a person.
Oh yeah. You can do some magical things with guitar strings too.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
So let's see what else. And again, and I'm actually surprised to see this one on here, The Evil Dead.
That was one of the most violent movies for its time.
Oh,
Funny-
true, because it was so over the top. You know, Sam Raimi and motherfucking Bruce Campbell.
Funny story about Evil
Like-
Dead. Did you know that Evil Dead 2 was actually a remake of The Evil Dead?
I had a sneaking suspicion, but continue, please.
So the way the story goes is Sam wanted to make this movie, which is the way 2 turned out. He didn't, brand new director, didn't have any clout, so he made the movie that the studio wanted.
Studio wanted, of
So he
course.
put out what the studio wanted, and dude, truthfully, Evil Dead 1 is, I don't find it as superior. I don't even find it as superior as the remake, the Fede Alvarez version, because that thing was fucking gnarly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the new one I think is the new one's brutal. I liked the new one, but I still like just have. It's probably just the nostalgia. I just have such a heart feeling for the original.
So I'm an asshole, and I wear it proudly on my sleeve. You know,
I can't see your sleeve, but okay.
Yeah, exactly. But so I took a pal of mine to go see that movie, and and I knew the scene was coming up where the girl was getting romanced by the thorn bushes,
Ooh.
and I had this soundboard on my phone with Marvin Gaye queued up. So
Oh my god!
So we're in a theater of like maybe 15 people, and right as this thing's like climbing up her skirt, I press play on Let's Get It On.
Oh no!
My pal had the most horrified look on his face, looked over at me. I'm sitting here dying laughing. I'm like, this is incredible.
I'd probably be the sickest sitting there laughing because, like, I don't know why. Like, that's just.
I mean, we all knew the scene was coming. I mean, it's a damn remake.
Yeah.
You know what's up. Let me go ahead and just put a little extra stank on it, you know?
Uh-huh. Oh my gosh. So anyway, as I'm continuing to scroll down this list here, I'm not really a bunch of I'm in like section 3, so not really a lot sticking out to me just yet.
Well, you also have to remember that this was an act in motion from the 80s.
Right. So, but I would think like even too like from the 80s, like you would see like a lot of films from like late 60s, early 70s into the 80s. So now that I'm kind of passing through, like I see Final Exam, Friday the 13th, Graduation Day, The Hills Have Eyes.
Oh, Hills Have Eyes, yeah.
The original one and the remake. I saw the new one before I saw the original. The new, like, I still just don't know how to feel about it. I mean, like the whole, like, again, like a lot. I feel like a lot in the newer one, like they killed they killed the mother, like, and oh my god, I forget which. Oh my god, there's it's something coming back to me. Like I'm not sure. I think it's the sequel, like The Hills Have Eyes 2. Like, remind me, did that have a sequel?
Yeah.
Okay, because it must have been in that one. Like there was I know. Again, spoiler alert. There was a guy, like he had cuts all over his body, and he was shoved in a porta potty. Like that, like I don't know, like it's so cruel, but like in a strange twisted way, like that's freaking brilliant.
Oh,
like
yeah.
let the infection kill him. And that brings me back to Sleep. That brings me back to another sequel, Sleepaway Camp 2.
She's got a wiener.
We saw that in the first one, like still the best. Holy shit moment in cinema.
Dude,
And
And I gotta tell you, man, Felicia's a good sport too, man. I've met her on a few occasions. She's pretty cool. She actually plays a role in Shriek Show. That movie.
No kidding.
Yeah, her, Beverly Randolph, Tuesday night.
I remember Tuesday night from Friday the 13th. I think it was part 5. No, part 4.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, part 4, because that part 4 was the Dream Warrior. Oh no, Dream Warriors was 3.
No.
You're
That's
talking
Nightmare
about
on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street,
That's
yeah.
the ones that I've been watching through.
Okay, that's what I meant. Nightmare on Elm Street. Was I saying Friday the 13th?
Yes.
Sorry, my brain's tired. So yes, it was Nightmare on Elm Street, the Dream Master, because the 5th one was Dream Child, and that one not very. Yeah, no.
Oh, thanks. That's the
Not
next
good.
one on the list.
Still watch it, dude. It's part of the series.
Right. Nah,
I mean, you have to. I mean, it does have some, like, the concept to it is a little different. So I like kind of seeing it, like watching it, like when I was a teen, and kind of thinking about it again now. I kind of understand like why it's kind of scary. I mean, looking at it from like a point of becoming a parent. I mean, for anyone that's terrifying. So it did touch on like some heavy themes. I just don't think it did it quite right. But there's one kill in there too that's I thought wickedly creative. And you, Max, you probably know which one I'm talking about. Because I just don't want to spoil it for Kirby.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
Super Freddy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you get it.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna keep perusing down here through this list again real quick. See what sticks. Oh, go ahead.
Any Chucky fans in the house?
I believe it or not, I only saw I only cared for just a couple of the films. Like I'm not the biggest Chucky fan. I don't know why. Like I did not like Barbie dolls when I was a kid, so probably the same thing just kind of grew on me.
Definitely. Oh.
Oh my god! And it has a gun. Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
So story about that. Story time, kids. So
Yay.
I couldn't watch Chucky movies until I was like 14. Because my bitch ass couldn't even walk into a video store without somebody having to turn the box over.
That is so.
So I'm like 4 years old. I'm downstairs watching HBO, and the preview for this thing came on. And once he jammed the knife through the car, I about shit my pants and ran upstairs. And I made the mistake of telling my pops about it.
Oh no.
And ever since then, I got the bad ribs for about a good couple years.
Oh my god.
So anytime, and then when Child's Play 2 came out and the poster was outside the theater, we'd drive by. My dad would deliberately drive by the theater to make sure I seen it.
Dick move, Dad.
Anytime it showed up in the newspaper, he'd pull it out and be like, "Oh, dude, check it out. There's a thing for the new Ninja Turtles." Yeah? Nah, here's Chucky. Yeah, so... Oh, and I tried for years to get over it. I don't know what it was, but it was something about animated dolls, because even Puppet Master screwed me up. But I could handle Puppet Master, and that's why it's one of my favorites, because I love like the animated toys and doll stuff.
Right.
Yeah, because like even like all the creature flicks and stuff, like just little things like the critters, the puppets, Chucky, all that shit. So I tried for years, and then I finally sat down one time and watched, because I knew that Bride Chucky was getting ready to come out, and I was like 14, 15. I was like, I gotta get over this thing, man. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know how I'm gonna meet girls if I can't even watch this movie.
Yes, because chicks love horror.
Oh, either that or chicks are gonna look at me funny. They see me, Ah! So,
No.
but that's like 15-year-old Max is like, no way, I gotta get over this thing. So once I watched it, it was like, oh, this is what I was.
This is what I've been afraid of this whole time.
Yeah, and I watched Child's Play 2, which ended up being like the best one, the absolute best
I
one.
did like the second one. I have to say, like, out of all of them, I like the second one. Cult of Chucky that came out, the one that was just before it. It wasn't
Curse.
Curse. Yeah, Curse was another really good one.
Curse was awesome.
And then, just in a strange, bizarre way, I gotta give Seed of Chucky just the littlest bit of love because it had a cameo in there from John Waters, John Waters is fucking amazing in his own very special way. Jennifer Tilly, can I just say how much I love Jennifer Tilly?
Go ahead.
I fucking love Jennifer Tilly, and I hope I look like that when I'm her age. And like she just goes all out. Like she will say and do like anything for these movies, and you can tell she's enjoying it. And I think not just in horror movies, but in anything, like you can see someone that has that kind of love. That's awesome.
It's hard to believe Jen's 60 years old, man, because time's good to her.
Time is so good to her. Now it makes me wonder. Okay, so we talked about what was that?
I said, I hope I can age like that.
Like a fine wine, my friend, like fine wine. So let's see what else we have on this list.
The other thing used to trip me out was some of those old episodes of Tales from the Crypt.
Oh my God, I like Tales from the Crypt. Like those were absolutely hilarious.
Oh, dude, they were like the requisite growing up. Like if you couldn't get through that, you couldn't get through anything. You know.
And now I gotta ask, just because we're kind of like on the like TV and like almost what feels like nostalgia little kid horror. How did you feel about Goosebumps?
Oh, I was a Goosebumps kid. I used to go to I used to go to the bookstores. I was part of a reading group, all that stuff for Goosebumps in particular. I got them every month. Kept up on them. That was my jam.
That's absolutely awesome. Fun. Just a quick little side note, fun story. I grew up on those books, and I just now I'm starting my nephew who's 7. I'm starting him on some of the books now.
Oh, good.
Some of them are not, and some of them are very hard to find because they're not in print anymore. So I'm like doing my darnest to try to find some of them for him, and he loves it. Like he loves scary. Like he likes to be scared.
I got another one. It's a little lighthearted, but it's kind of fun that I read growing up. It was I think it was a Judy Blume book, but it was called Bunnicula. It was about this vampire rabbit. There was a dog and a cat, and they were very suspicious of the rabbit because they thought he was a vampire. And he totally was, but rather than drinking blood, he was drinking the blood juice out of like vegetables and making them turn white.
Oh my God, that's adorable! Oh. Like yeah, that's like cute, actually. Like I actually kind of want to read it now because
there's a cartoon for it now.
Oh my gosh, that is the best thing I've ever heard. All right, so let's see. We covered animated dolls. We talked about the nostalgic kids. Oh, before we break out of the kids nostalgia horror, have you ever watched like Are You Afraid of the Dark, things like that, or?
Oh yeah. I grew up on all that because that was my Saturday night ritual, like as a kid. Cause
Saturday night, Nickelodeon.
It was every weekend because I was a horror kid very early in life because I had a sister that got into it and then she got me hip to it. And then hanging out at the comic book shops that were near my house, I was always reading Fango while I was reading all the comic books. So like
I love it.
I was really getting into it. And then we were also a video store house. So like every weekend we were constantly going getting movies and I was always bringing shit home. And as long as Chucky was turned over, I could grab anything.
Of course. I know for the longest time I couldn't walk into Spencer's because like they would have like they actually for a while like they had the like mint condition actual good guy doll, and then they had the version of Chucky like a couple aisles over.
See, I hate
I don't know why. Like, oh, go ahead.
I hate Stitch Face Chucky, man.
See, the one that actually made me more unnerved was the good guy. It was good guy Chucky.
Mhm.
Like
He-
that one just made me like the most unnerved. Like nothing wrong with him, clean face and everything, and just
Mhm.
that voice. Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Stitch
No.
Face.
Nope.
My beef with Stitch Face Chucky is they try too hard with him. They tried to make him look scary. They tried to make him scary, and that's when they gave him like a real sense of humor. So it took his menace away, is what I feel like.
You know what? It's funny you said that because that kind of sounds like another horror icon we have here. One Mr. Freddy Krueger.
Mm.
Because I mean, like once he started getting like the one-liners and the quips, it felt like most of that menacing side to him was gone.
Well, I mean, you
I,
also have to remember at the end of the day, he's a child molester. So it's kind of
that
hard to
is true.
lose his menace to a degree, but I totally feel what you're saying.
Right. I mean, like, but in a way, a lot of like that fear that I felt like he had, like, really came back in Wes Craven's New Nightmare, which is the sixth or seventh. No, it was the seventh one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
7.
And
I
it
have
was
seen that one.
and that was incredible.
Yes, that one was
So
fantastic.
it's still so underrated. Like people say today, like a lot of people say that that's their least favorite next to Dream Child. I disagree. I feel like that was actually, believe it or not, like that was my first Freddy Krueger movie that I actually saw. And I was so intrigued by it. Like I actually had to go and watch the whole series because I loved it so much. And Heather Langenkamp, badass final girl.
If you can get your hands on it, on most of the DVD releases of the whole series, there's
Hmm.
this one disc called the I think it's the Nightmare Encyclopedia.
Okay,
It's like a 3-4 hour disc where it pretty much gives you a rundown of the whole series, and
that's awesome.
it talks with everybody, interviews, all that stuff. It's pretty
Yep.
neat.
And they also this was on Netflix a while back. I don't know if it's back on or not, but they also had a documentary on
Uh,
Nightmare on Elm Street called
There
Night
you go.
Again. And it was like interviews with like Wes Craven, Robert Englund, Heather Langenkamp, and like just different cast members like throughout the movies. So like that was really neat to see.
it really was, and it was very insightful. I remember watching that too because that Joker was like 6 hours long, like 6.5 hours long,
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
but it was worth it.
Oh,
I'll tell you what else is like 6 hours long. I don't know if you're aware of it, but there's this independent documentary that got released probably about a year ago. It's called In Search of Darkness. Look into 80s horror.
you know what? It's funny. I listened to another podcast on Spotify called Horror Movie Night, and one of the hosts were talking about that. So
Yeah, I just got my copy about a month and a half ago and ran that thing, and that's probably about 5.5, 6 hours. But
nice.
it's incredible because just the way it is it does go through like some of the most pivotal, influential like horror movies of the 80s, and they
Mm.
break it up by decade. So it's
Oh,
all
nice.
that, like you get
Nice.
the timeline effect of it, and you get the real meat and potatoes of all the stories behind everything,
Oh,
and
that sounds
why these
awesome.
movies are influential. So it's totally incredible. Like it's hard to get your hands on because they've only released like a little bit at a time because it was like a GoFundMe thing or a
Mm.
Kickstarter thing. But if you can get your hands
Horror.
on it, I highly recommend it because that thing's incredible. They're supposed to be doing a second one.
Ooh. I'll probably to cover like horror like through like the two like late 90s, 2000s, and up through today. So let me ask you, horror like how would you like? I know like we talked a lot about horror movies of the past, but not really so much about like present, current, like so much about the present. Like what have you watched like any recent like horror from like probably within the last couple of years that like maybe have like really stuck with you?
So I'm a fan of a lot of the Blumhouse stuff that's been coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I had a feeling that was coming.
so I
I'm a Blumhouse too, so.
oh good. Yeah, in my house, we check out all those After Dark on Hulu's,
Mm-hmm.
and we check them out every month, all the new ones. We just watched Good Boy like a couple weeks or a couple nights ago,
Ooh.
and that was pretty fun because the dog. Well, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but man's best friend. Remember man's best friend from when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Kind
I
of
have
like
two.
that. It's kind of like that, but he's not a robot, and it's funny.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I watch a lot of the Blumhouse stuff. Um, I remember watching The Green Inferno when that came out a few years ago, and
Yes.
it
Oh,
was
that's
it was gross, and I loved it,
yep. That's like an updated Cannibal Holocaust, my opinion. It's
especially when she ate the guy's eyeball. She peeled it out and just right down the gut.
yeah. Anything with eyeball horror, like eyeball and teeth, like freak me out. Like ugh.
Did you watch that movie, Teeth?
I have not watched the
Nope.
movie.
Nope.
I think Kirby's probably getting so he's starting to squirm a little bit.
Well, yeah, because the girl's got a set of dentures down in her hoo-ha.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what the whole
See?
movie's about.
Now she understands why I, squirmed like a little girl.
Yeah.
No, I am not.
Oh,
No, she's chomping on wieners with her bottom smile like the whole movie.
That
God, that's like cruel and brilliant.
poor gynecologist.
Well, she ends up taking off the gynecologist's finger
Yeah.
because he's all being
Probe it. Like, ooh, what's this?
Well, he's trying to get fresh with her, like, and you're not supposed to do that. So she just chomps down and took off like 2 of his fingers.
Ah!
Well, kind of
Mhm.
deserved it.
Oh yeah, it totally deserved it.
Uh,
But I guess so. If we can go back to the past for a second, I don't know if you noticed, but this guy right here is kind of a tribute. If you can see it kind of close.
Kind of.
barely.
So he's got.
Ah, there we go.
Oh, cow, my God.
Can you-
Okay, not really that old, but like,
Can you pin out what it is?
part of me went to say Captain Spaulding, but that's not that old.
No, it's not that. I get that a lot, but that's not it. This is a horror tribute, though.
I know, and that's like, oh,
Very
it's killing me.
close. Very close, because the guy that played this character works with Captain Spaulding in those movies.
Oh, it's killing me. Like I have something like on the tip of my tongue, but it's like I can't.
Do you want me to tell you?
Please, because
Yeah,
my brain's
I'm not gonna guess it.
So this is Bill Moseley from Texas
fucking
Chainsaw
knew
Massacre
it.
2. That's Chop Top.
Oh my God, that I can't believe I'm. Damn, I feel stupid now.
And he's got the coat hanger scratching the head right there. That's me.
I fucking missed that. Oh my God, like I'm so busy just looking at the beard and just that smile, like, cause I'm sorry, like when I see it, like I said, that pops out, like that's so Captain Spaulding to me, like that's just what I draw it automatically.
You don't
my
like
God.
clowns?
Oh my God, he's not just like him. Like, ugh. Man, going back to newer horror, because of course, just I spent like the last 2 minutes talking about it. Rob Zombie.
Well, I know Captain Spaulding inspires a lot of like personality traits and stuff that I've kind of picked up on.
Right.
Between him and Otis Driftwood,
Mhm.
it's they both kind of tie into my personality a lot
Absolutely.
because it's menace with a sense of humor, but it's also take no shit.
But to be in one of his movies, you gotta take no shit.
Yeah, because you're gonna go through a lot of shit being in one of his movies.
Oh, running across a field in a bunny suit's one of them, right?
Yo, have you seen the Bunnytown Murders? Or
I've not seen
the Bunnyman Murders, I think it was.
I've not seen it, but I've heard of it and I've heard the legend.
It is very disturbing. You should definitely give it a watch.
Nope. So note this up.
There's like a couple different ones of them, and they're all fucked up.
Ooh.
I'm not gonna be able to sleep tonight, am I?
Probably not. Were you gonna sleep anyway, Joe? Though Kirby, truthfully.
I mean, I can loan you a Chucky doll you can curl up with.
Yeah. My luck, I'm gonna fall asleep with it in the bed, and I'm gonna wake up and he's not gonna be there.
It's possible. I mean, it's happened. It happened to me in Virginia one time. I had him up on a cat tower in my house, and my roommate came in, and we had both passed out during the movie, and I woke up for he did and moved Chucky around the house, and he didn't put two and two together, but he goes, where did Chucky go? And I was like, I don't know, dog. I was asleep too. And did this for months, and
Oh my gosh.
I just put him in different places, man, and
That's
and
awesome.
it was
so good.
it was a fun rib.
So I was watching, I don't remember what his name was. I was watching a comedian had a similar story. He's talking about Poltergeist.
Oh
And,
God, that clown.
Clown, exactly. Apparently, that is not created for the movie. That was a real clown toy that was available for purchase.
Ooh.
So he had it, saw Poltergeist, and got fucking terrified, threw it out, closed it in the trash can, and, like, never wanted to see it again. Well, his parents didn't know any of this. So they're like, oh no, his clown got thrown out. Took it out, put it back in his room.
Oh my.
No.
Freaked the fuck out.
Okay, I got one for you. I don't tell this story very often. Do you remember those clapping monkeys?
Yes.
Monkey shines.
Mm-hmm. So, I was in Norfolk one time at a thrift store, and they had one in glass. They had one behind glass. It looked very old, and there was a do not touch sign on it. So I went to the clerk, and of course, me being inquisitive, I goes, yo, is this thing haunted? And then somebody tried to feed me a story, and I'm just like, I know it is, because I was getting bad vibes off this thing, because I'm pretty sensitive when it comes to certain energies. And I'm sitting here talking, it's like, yo, this thing's going to kill somebody. This thing's going to come alive and kill fucking somebody. And they're like, sir, you're going to have to stop that, or else we're going to have to ask you to leave because you're about to cause a scene. I was like, I ain't causing no scene. If anything, this dude's going to cause a scene. And right as I did that, nothing touched it. Nothing happened. Like, nothing, like, influenced it whatsoever. But it went off, and it goes,
I'm gone. I'm
behind
out.
glass, making the most atrocious noises going off. I couldn't have got out of that store faster, man.
I was going to say, I would have been gone.
Nope. So I know one place then you should avoid. You've probably heard of them. Have you heard of Ed and Lorraine Warren?
Oh, yeah. Very familiar with those two. I read some of their books.
Great. They have I forget where it is, but they have their own, like, museum of the occult. And they have, like, a lot of their objects behind, like, glass, like, in glass cases, signs do not touch. I guess supposedly, like, they have, like, this couple haunted dolls and stuff that have been known to kind of, get up, wander.
I think it's in South Carolina.
Probably. Now I gotta look it up. Just so.
That's
go ahead.
Speaking of horror attractions, because me and Britt were actually just talking about this the other day. So she lives near a museum from a famous horror movie. She lives near the museum for Night of the Living Dead. And the shopping mall.
Yeah.
Ironically, I just found this out a couple weeks ago. I can't pronounce the name of it, but it's only about 2 hours away from where I'm at. But Camp Crystal Lake is actually here in Jersey, like the on-scene location. And I want to go, but the zombie apocalypse going on right now. I haven't been able to get out and about. but it's definitely a future trip.
What's really funny about that Crystal Lake deal you're talking about is it's a fully functioning operational Boy Scout camp, and they shut it down in October so you can do the tour. I think it's like Camp Kikio or something.
Something like that. It's weird.
I get the emails for it.
That's awesome.
I want to go just for like a tour.
Connecticut. The Occult Museum is in Connecticut.
Yeah. So did you guys hear the story about Robert the Doll? Do you know that
Yes, I'm so familiar with Robert the Doll.
I want to go see him.
I kind of do too. Like I want to go to I actually want to go there. Like, oh my God, there's so many places like in the country that I want to go. Like just based on like, you know, the history and everything. I mean, New Orleans, of course, because you know, like that's almost like the birthplace of voodoo, like in America.
Mm-hmm.
I have a story about New Orleans when you're done.
Go ahead. We'll pause. Go ahead and tell your story.
So my buddy was stationed down in New Orleans and decided to go to one of the haunted plantations down there. And he's not skeptical like at all. He doesn't believe in any kind of hauntings. He doesn't believe in any kind of possessions. And it was like the end of the day. It's like, I don't know, 5-ish. And he's walking out and he sees someone walk across the second floor, like through the window. And he's like, did everyone of the group come out? And they're like, the building's closed. Like, no one's here today. It's closed.
Oh.
Wait, what? Yeah, like legitimately, he saw someone in a locked house on a haunted plantation. I was like, nope. And then supposedly, he went back 3 more times. He's like, oh, I gotta see this now.
That's awesome. All right. Well, guys, actually, I had my little 4-foot terror walk in, so I'm going to go say hi to him. But that means please continue, and I will rejoin whenever I can.
All righty.
Kirby,
I got a story for you. Kind of like that.
Love to hear it.
So a few years ago, because you're familiar with Virginia and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so out in Williamsburg, they have this old place called the Old Powhatan Resort.
Okay.
Off of like Ironside Road or Ironbound Road, one of those things.
Right.
And come to find out, it was built on top of an Indian plantation.
Oh, no.
And I was dating this girl at the time, and that just happened to be the place where we went when we vacationed. And she was taking a nap upstairs in the loft, and she was very sensitive to energy too. Like, she was very much a medium of sorts.
Right.
And got the worst vibe. I guess there was some nasty spirit in our loft. Ooh. So we stayed the fuck out of the loft.
I wouldn't doubt it.
But then we would see and hear things constantly throughout our whole weekend. There was shit moving, hear noises, just feeling energies. And then when we go talk to the people at the front desk, be like, yeah, is this place haunted? Be like, yeah, it totally is. There's a few ghosts that come around here pretty often. And if you stay away from the Colonial House, because there's a really nasty one in the basement, so stay the fuck away from there unless you really want to see something. So we would go back another time after that. And I remember waking up in the middle of the night one time, and I literally saw, like, you know how TV static, it's just all black and white, got that snow. Well, there was this, like, figure apparition, like a person. It was a figure of a person, an apparition, but it looked like white static snow from the TV. And I was just like, what the fuck?
Oh, goodness.
Oh, dude, yeah, it was terrifying. But at the same time, we went back and talked to the people at the counter for that one, too. And they told us, it was like, oh, that was probably, like, the little girl. There was a general's daughter that comes in and plays with you.
Oh, my goodness.
And she goes through all the different houses and whatnot and just plays around with people, just looking for people to play with her.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah. And we did all the research online, too, like, while we were there. And apparently other people had testimonies about this, too, so it wasn't just us.
Wow. So, not not that it's confirmed. It gave me a creepy vibe. There's a hotel that is up towards Britt, and it's this old like Quality Inn or something like that, and it legit looks like some of the hallways look like the Overlook. Like it has this old like 1970s carpet that's never been replaced. No one ever stays there because it's just like a poor quality. So like the hallways like basically echo if you walk through them. So I'm up there visiting one weekend, and I'm going down the stairway, and I walk past this door, and it I thought it was like the windowsill in it was like just black, and so you couldn't see through it. So curiosity gets the best of me. I look through it. It's an abandoned wing of the hotel. There's like doors open, there's carpet torn up, the door's locked. And I'm like, nope, I ain't going this way in the hotel anymore. Because my luck, I would try to take a picture of this to be like, look at what I found, and then there'd be something in the picture. I'm like, nope, ain't doing it.
I used to hear about that shit happening at the Cavalier all the time back at the oceanfront.
Yeah.
People used to go hang out in the old Cavalier and come out and talk about being haunted, and there's like floors that don't exist and stuff in the hotel. It's like,
Yeah, no, I'm a wimp when it comes to stuff like that, so I can't do it.
So I got a fun story for you. You remember Banks, right?
Oh yeah, I talk to Banks all the time.
Oh my God! So a couple of years ago, me, him, and Brad, we went to the Hunts Club to go do like the haunted hayride, the corn walk, the corn maze, all that stuff. And of course, I'm the tour guide because that shit don't faze me. I go in there and I'll play with the actors and talk to them, and I'll actually scare the other patrons and stuff myself.
Nice.
But we took Banks through there because he was still new to all this stuff, and this is when he was still bigger.
Okay.
So watching a big guy like him go through and get terrified by the actors in the corn maze, they chased him around deliberately.
Oh my gosh.
He was so scared. They chased him around deliberately because he's like, oh my God, it's getting whipped me. It's terrible. They chased this big man around.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It was so rough. And then once we got out, we gave him such a hard time. He goes, you know what? I'm coming back. I'm going to do it. I'm Benjamin Banks, damn it. I'm going to conquer this shit. Ain't nobody going to fuck with me. And sure enough, we went through a second time, and they're like, oh, you're back for more, huh? And then they laid it on even more. They laid it on thick. And he was like, oh, God damn it. he was almost in tears after that one.
Oh my gosh. No,
that
so
is great.
Fun Hunts Club story. My ex used to go there all the time, and she's from Virginia Beach, so she knows the people who work there.
Yep.
So she's like halfway through the maze one time, and someone recognized her on the cast. Started passing along her name to everybody. So she kept hearing the cast that was hiding whisper for her or talk or say her name. She's like freaked out and basically ran out of the corn maze.
Oh my incredible. Gosh. I love that kind of stuff. Like I like I'm sorry, it kind of came in on the tail end, but it sounded like you guys were talking about like haunted houses, haunted mazes, and stuff. Those things are so much fun.
Oh man, I gave the kids such a hard time. Cause you ever seen like those big black blobs that you walk through that's supposed to be like you're walking into a void?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, after I had that VCW match where I broke my foot, I was hobbling through this thing in the boot and the crutches, and some kid goes, "Sir, you're gonna have to follow me around or hand me your crutches." And I goes, "Why?" He goes, "'Cause I don't want you to get hurt." I was like, "Dude, do I look like some kind of pussy to you?"
Oh my goodness.
He didn't know what to say, so I gave him a stink eye, grabbed my crutches, and went through the void.
Nice.
I'll show you.
There you go.
I gave that kid such a hard time.
Aw.
Still to this day, one of the best haunted attractions I went through. It wasn't like super scary. It was just super interesting to me. There was a almost like a house of mirrors at Six Flags here in Jersey, and some of it you could see through, some of it you would reflect. So you literally had to like watch the floor, and they gave you gloves to wear so you couldn't like smear fingerprints on the glass.
Mm-hmm.
So you're walking, and like maybe the lights will
neat.
flash, or maybe they'll go out, and then you have to like guide your way across. Then the lights come on. There's someone in front of you.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Dude, those halls of mirrors are rough.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun, but it was, like I said, it wasn't as scary, but it was definitely weird trying to navigate. I'm pretty sure, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure I at least conked my face on one of them. It's just like, nope, wrong way.
So what was really cool when we were shooting Shriek Show is the first day that I was out there, for like the first day or two, there was this haunted forest out here in Maryland called Markov's.
Okay.
And so there's literally all kinds of different scenes all over this property, and it's just this huge property. You got a burning village, you got Viking ships, you got spaceships, you got carnivals, you got broke down haunted looking vehicles, all kinds of stuff all over the place. And this place looked nuts. I'm trying to go there this Halloween when it's in season, because I actually want to see how it pops off over there.
That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Dad.
The one.
No one's in here with me.
The one attraction that I'm too much of a chicken to go, but she wants to go like super, super bad. The East 8 Penitentiary in like right outside of Philly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this old closed down prison that they turn into this huge haunted attraction every October. And like I said, I'm a wimp, but everyone here locally goes to it, and they say it's like super intense, scares the crap out of them, scares the crap out of me just thinking about it.
You should totally do it, man.
I would definitely do it. I've done my share of prisons. Actually, this was, oh my gosh, now roughly like 5-6 years ago now. My parents took my younger sister and I on a tour of Mansfield Prison, where they filmed The Shawshank Redemption.
Nice.
And like legitimately, like it is like a legitimately haunted prison. Even just being there, like we went on like a Saturday afternoon, like it was early, like it was in beginning of July, like it was hot, it was sunny, but like you just still felt like such a sense of dread in there. Mm-hmm. And actually, true story, we were in the shower, we were like in one of their showering areas, and my mom, like, she had made a comment saying like she wasn't afraid of any ghosts, and you know, like how they have like the ghost voice recordings or like ghost EVP players or whatever.
Famous last words.
After she had said, yep, and after she said that, I guess there's a word came over like our scanner, and guess what it said?
Boo.
It said strip. Because think about where we were. We were in a men's shower. We were in a shower room in a men's prison, and my mom just said she wasn't afraid of any ghosts. And one of the ghosts was telling her to strip, almost like a dare.
Oh shit!
I know, right? Like, still like one of the most trippy experiences ever.
That's wild.
I want to go back. I still want to go back to Mansfield, but Eastern State Penitentiary, I do want to go there. There's a house in Iowa. You guys probably like heard about it in passing. It's like the axe murder house of Villisca.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've heard of it, but I don't have too much info on it.
Well, supposedly, like, what had happened was in 1912, some unknown person snuck into this house, killed like husband, wife, their 4 children, and two neighborhood girls that were staying the night.
Oh my.
They They never found out who did it. And they actually had ghost hunters. No, not ghost hunters. Ghost adventures there. You know, like Zach Bagans and all them. Like they did an investigation on the house, and you know, like again, same thing. Like the house is supposedly haunted, you know, by the victims and the person that allegedly did the crime. Like there was someone that was accused of it, but was never proven, you know, to be responsible. So, just a lot of like sadness, a lot of heaviness, and like for someone like for you, like for someone to like be angry enough to use an axe to kill someone. I mean, you really, and especially like on children, you know, like you really have to have a lot of hatred or a lot of anger. And I know it kind of got a little heavy. One more place I want to go is Alcatraz. You know, the infamous Alcatraz Island.
That would be fun.
I'm trying to go to Waverly Hills in Kentucky.
I would love that. Oh my God. More ghost stories from that place than you can shake a stick at.
I had a cousin that went because I've got family that lives in Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And she told me how nutty it was. So I'm like, yeah, I definitely need to get in there sometime.
Yeah, very curious. Like, just some of the horror stories too that you hear about from there, and like some of the spirits that inhabit it. I guess they have one there that's called like the Crawler. Like, and he's supposed to be like a malevolent spirit. So.
The more malevolent, the better.
There you go. Well, there
Bring
you go.
it on.
Right.
Glad one of us on this podcast isn't terrified out of their pants right now.
Aw.
I laugh in the face of danger. Oh no!
Oh God!
I see nothing about this. I will say this, and I do give Kirby credit. Like, it's not like so much creepy, but it's definitely very interesting. And if you're into like body stuff, in Philadelphia, they have it's I guess called the Philadelphia Medical Museum, but it's also known as like the Mutter Museum. And
it's the I'm gonna misquote this, and I apologize. The Mutter Museum of Medical Oddities.
yes, I think it's actually it.
Quite a strange place, but it's definitely interesting to say the least.
Sounds like my kind of bag. I like medical stuff.
It was based on what Kirby had told me. It was like extremely fascinating. Like they had like a section on war medicine, like how procedures were performed like on the war front. Gallstones that are like big as my eyeball, if not bigger. They have an exhibit of skulls from like different head traumas and stuff. So like a lot of like really and then like some of the one thing that was I guess someday that to me at least sounds kind of interesting. They had like a spin off of like some of the grim fairy tales. So for example, like there was one with like a surgeon and like three items, or like one was like an eyeball, a hand, and a heart, like, and all of them like kind of tied back in like all these exhibits kind of tied back into a story. So I thought that was really neat.
That sounds like a place I need to check out.
Yeah. Well,
I would encourage it.
If you come up to Jersey, let me know. We'll definitely head over to Philly.
You got a date, dude.
You guys can go without me.
We never said we would.
Jesus, I mean, I'm invited.
He's not wrong.
Yay. Hey.
Oh, man.
Anyway, so wow. Definitely did a lot of talking about like all the spooky, creepy, crawly things. So I guess the ultimate question, what's your favorite scary movie?
The one that hasn't been made yet.
Ooh.
Oh, good answer. I like that.
What is yours?
Actually, I was gonna have Kirby. I was gonna go last.
mm, I think out of all the ones that I've seen, which aren't many, and I would say it's either Wes Craven's A New Nightmare or the new Halloween movie that just came out in 2018.
Yep.
I thought that was a really, really good one. So
that was a banger.
That really was good. Like I was very pleased with it. Mine. It's always gonna be just a soft spot for me. Night of the Living Dead. Just because like it's so close to home, and like just the amount of love I have for it.
I was gonna say that's such a Philly thing to say.
I mean, that'd be like being from Philadelphia and like not like and liking Rocky, right?
I mean, essentially, yeah.
But I do like Rocky. But anyway. But yeah, like Night of the Living Dead, and I would probably. I actually really got like this is a deep one for me. I would probably honestly like have to say Psycho.
Psycho, really?
Alfred Hitchcock, like again, like just the way I feel like just the way that he did suspense was just so it was just so good. Like he didn't have to show much, but it was able like it felt like to me it tied together so like it just fit together so well. And like the story was good, the characters were good. What I felt, it's just. But I will say I hate the shot for shot remake from 1998 with Vince Vaughn and Anne Heche.
Ooh, yeah.
I
Trash.
probably would have liked it. I probably would have liked it more if they had a different cast. 'Cause I mean, I don't hate either. I don't hate Vince Vaughn. I don't hate Anne Heche, but I don't think they were a good fit for the movie. So unless they were trying to pay off a debt or something, I don't know.
Contractually obligated.
Yep, there we go. But
I think Vince Vaughn just came off Swingers when he did that.
Maybe.
I think you're right, actually.
Because he just did Swingers, and then he did like something else, and then he did Psycho, and that was the start of his.
Yeah, Dad.
That was his launching point.
Come on, you big girl. Sorry, guys. I was just joined by my pity princess.
A big furry sidekick.
A large 80-pound furry sidekick, and she just growled at me because she knows it's her bedtime. And seriously, if you could see the way she's laying right now, she looks like she would be a poster child for Tinder for dogs. Gotta love it. All right, so I'll tell you, you boys got anything else? You have anything else you would like to kind of add in?
Max, where can the fans of the Curbside Podcast find you? Twitter, Facebook.
Easy. I've got a website, and it's got all my social links. It's got all my booking info. It has all my videos. It's got stuff for my podcast, Social Disturbancing. It's www.maddmaxmorrison.com. 2 D's, 2 X's. Super important. Go there. You find everything you need.
Alrighty.
All right, Max, thank you so much for coming on. Like this, it was actually kind of nice for me to have an opportunity to talk for the first couple weeks.
Yes, she tends to get a little overwhelmed because I go for more nerdier topics and she's not as well versed.
Mm.
So it was a nice change up. Me being the one to take the back seat.
But again, this is why I'm the co-host.
Well, it certainly was a pleasure, and I appreciate
Yeah.
you guys having me on, because I had fun too.
Of course. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Greatly appreciate it. And maybe we'll see me on your podcast.
Let's make some time.
Do a curbside crossover.
All we gotta do is make some time and make it happen.
I'm about it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us, Max. Thank you all for listening to the Curbside Podcast. We greatly appreciate it, and we will see you guys soon.
Catch you on the curbside.